open the little container, it's a front loader machine. It has a dispenser and it automatically puts the soap in.
Of course.
It's so cool.
And can you control it with your iPad or your phone?
It seems like everything here can be controlled by your iPad or phone, right?
Yeah.
That's been something that's been eye-opening to me.
That is very true.
Welcome to the Fine Homebuilding podcast, recorded live from the International Builder Show in sunny Las Vegas. This is the second of our 6 planned podcast recordings. And I am joined by Kylie Jacques, design editor.
Hello.
Jeff Rose, producer. Mike Guertin, editorial advisor.
Hi.
And Addison Oliveira,
Yep.
employee for Mike.
Yes.
Awesome.
Do you
Hey,
have more
thanks
than
everyone.
one employee, Mike?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. Me and him.
Okay.
I'm technically an employee of my own corporation, so that's the way it works.
So this is your first time at the show?
Yes, correct.
And you too, Kylie, right?
That's right.
Addison, what do you think is the biggest surprise about coming here and seeing this spectacle?
It's very overwhelming seeing all the different vendors and booths and just taking it all in, walking around and seeing everything.
What do you think is the most common thing people are trying to figure out when they come to the Builder Show, based on like your new observation?
Really, what materials are worth it and what materials are good to use in
I think that's a good
building practices.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Kylie? What do you think of the show, and what was your biggest surprise?
The volume of people here in the industry and how large it is.
It is so
It
impossibly
is so
big.
impossibly big. You told me 50,000 people in
They
attendance?
say 50,000 attendees, yeah.
And never mind all of the vendors and employees representing the products.
Yeah, and I think there's thousands of booths.
Yeah, it's mammoth. I don't think you can appreciate how big it is until you've been.
Until
right?
you like sit down at the end of the day and
Yeah.
you're just like, ah.
Check your pedometer.
And don't deceive yourself. This is a small.
That's true.
This is like tiny amount of the people in construction.
Oh, yeah.
50,000 is nothing.
It's the
It's a
country's biggest industry.
Yeah, it's tremendous.
What do you think has changed in this show, Mike, since you've been coming here?
Less gray, more. So younger people. For the last, I've been coming to this show since 1998 or 99, all but 1 year, and up until about 5 years ago, it was getting grayer and grayer and grayer.
You mean people's hair?
The attendees, right? Yes, exactly. Well, the age of people, and I'm looking around, and there's a lot more young people.
Do you
And
think
that's
that's
encouraging?
Do you think
Yeah.
that's promising for the industry?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
because we've been talking about skills gaps for years, and that this the demand for labor, not just labor, but even just contractors, businesses, people who can do the work, run the jobs, all of that. And now we're seeing younger people actually who've probably been in the business, maybe working their way through the trades, and then now they're taking on the higher management positions or starting their own businesses, and now they're coming to the show.
Addison, what do you see people like your age around here? Or do you notice? I mean, it seems like most folks are older still, right?
Right, yeah, it's not so many teen folks, it's more people in their later 20s, maybe early 30s, maybe that just had bought a home and they're with their, wife or whoever it may be, their girlfriend, and it seems like they're going out, like Mike had said, to try to just get ideas on what is good materials to go and put in your home.
Mm-hmm.
I've been attending the KBIS, Kitchens and Baths Industry Show, which is...
We haven't even talked about that.
I know.
That's like another equivalent, a trade show
Right,
that's
right.
just as big, right?
And it's right here.
Yeah.
So I have been noticing younger... Well, I don't have much to compare it to because I haven't been here before, but I will say when I sat in on a chief architect's software demonstration that I looked around and a lot of the architects were much younger than you might imagine. So I always like seeing that,
Yeah, sure.
especially as I get older.
Have you found any very interesting products, either of you?
Yes, we have. We have to keep it on the low, though.
Why?
Why?
We're trying to take nice videos to show everyone, but we can't spoil it. It has to be a surprise.
Oh, that's still going to be good. So what?
You mean?
When is this going to go up?
Tomorrow.
Okay, I just don't want one of the.
You don't
other
want to scoop
editors
yourself.
Right. I don't want to scoop ourselves, and I don't want another editor like Matt Milham or you going out
And scooping
saying-
you.
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead.
It's already tonight at home, see?
Oh, is it?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
because it's 6 o'clock.
So which of the things we saw earlier did you like the best?
I there's this new type of window that this guy had just invented, and it's instead of it being an ordinary window with a single pane or double, triple pane, now he's created multiple layers, 7, 8 layers, and these windows are huge, super thick, 7 inches, 8 inches thick, and it's just supposed to help bring up the R value in the windows.
Really?
Yes.
Yep.
Can
I
you
bet it
see out
sounds-
of them? It sounds like thick
It
glass.
sounds
It's
expensive.
blurry.
Have you gotten any pricing? Yeah.
It'll be about the same as a triple glazed or slightly more.
Where the money goes into, he said, is not necessarily the layers of the glass and the glass size.
Glass
but
is
it's
cheap.
Exactly. It's the perimeter that he builds the frames out of, and that's what makes these windows so great, is just the engineering behind it.
They must be heavy.
Oh,
Yes.
it must be super heavy.
Nope, they're not, because there are only 2 panes of glass and films in between.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
So
heat
they're-
mirror films?
He would, well, it's similar,
Uh-huh.
same kind of film, but it's suspended in the unit in a different fashion than heat mirror. Heat mirror is fixed.
We
according
should
to-
tell folks what that is.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
in the 90s, I guess, is when that debuted, right?
Yeah.
In order to boost the performance of a standard insulated glass, piece of insulated glass, they put this polyester film in between the glass, and it acted like a third pane, right? Or a third layer of glass.
What it would do is it would divide the thickness of the glass, say it was an inch, into increments which were about 5/8 or 3/4 of an inch or less, which is optimal, being narrow, that you don't get convective looping of the gas inside. So by adding extra layers of film, you can add multiple compartments which are going to break that thermal conductivity through the glass.
Is this a window company we've heard of?
No.
No, this is a startup?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Interesting.
And what's interesting regarding the heat mirror that you mentioned is that was a fixed film inside of the
Yes.
glazing. So if you had a very large pane, I guess they had problems where over time, as that film expanded and contracted, all of a sudden it would lose that recovery and it would start to wrinkle a little bit. And then you could have a light transmission problem where you get a little waviness.
Yeah.
And they had problems with
Yeah.
that
Yeah, they
product.
did.
I don't think it's on the market anymore.
So what they've been able to do is come up with a spring-loaded system in the perimeter extrusion that is going to allow that film to remain taut the whole time.
Cool.
That is cool.
And the window frame's wood or fiberglass? Or
This is
Fiberglass.
no. The spacer bar is fiberglass. It's proprietary fiberglass multi-channel that they've invented. That's the key to the whole system. Is that structurally the regular spacer bars that have been used for years just
the
aren't-
aluminum things.
the aluminum things, or the some
Squiggles.
plastic. Yeah, the old squiggles. Yeah, they're not structural in the whole unit. This is a structural fiberglass, so you can actually install this glazing into any opening without any frame. So if you wanted a fixed frame, you could put it right in a block wall, done, walk away. That's not the point, but I'm just giving you an example of why that fiberglass
That
is
sounds
so
very
structural.
cool.
And the other, so that's one of the 3 key things about this. One is the film and the thickness they're able to get. 2 is this extrusion out of fiberglass. I don't think it's an extrusion, but the fiberglass they've got. And the third is what they're filling the space with. Now, we're familiar with low E glass, of course, that's a glazing itself, but then we often will get a gas-filled unit. So in other words, the
Argon.
glazing is argon or krypton. Those are the 2 most familiar glasses.
And that's the reason that's helpful or improves the performance of the glass is because these gases are, as I understand it, more dense than air. They are better at slowing heat flow. Is that correct?
That's what I understand as well. So they're actually letting their glass be filled with air. And there's a bunch of reasons for it, but
Nationwide distribution is one of them.
No, it's because when you start getting thicker,
Yep.
according to talking with the owner, inventor, engineer, when you get thicker glazings with the triple pane that we currently get, there is a limit to how wide they can go with the inert gases like argon because of the expansion and contraction problem, where the glazing itself would be either contracted so much or expanded so much that it might fracture. So there's some limitation in. Now, again, I haven't verified all this. I've got Steve Basic going over there a little later.
He's going to ask some hard questions.
He is going to be skeptical. But what they've been able to do is use air and have an inlet and outlet port. So there's no pressure differential between the inside and outside. So they're not limited on the size of the glazing other than shipping.
But doesn't that reduce its performance to have it coupled to the outside air?
Right.
You would think so. And I'm not going to start trying to explain everything he explained to me because I still have to go through it with him one more time.
Mm-hmm.
The issue really is so you're not going to get as good a performance as you would if you had it filled with argon
Or a vacuum.
or a vacuum.
Yep.
Remember the old vacuum units that they used to do. But those are limited by width. He's not limited by width because he doesn't have a pressure differential from inside to outside.
Mm-hmm.
So he can go up to this 4, 5, 6, 7 inches and get R14 out of these windows.
It's crazy.
It is. I mean, he's presenting it as R because most builders are familiar with R values as opposed to
U
factor.
values, which
but I
are-
think the view is like 0.4 or some crazy thing like that.
It's amazing.
And so what's the issue if we couple the outside air with the air inside the glass? What's the issue?
It's going to be the outside air temperature,
Right.
which would reduce its performance.
No,
bridging.
that's not really an issue. It's moisture.
Oh, it'll
And
fog up.
condensation,
It'll
right?
fog up, yeah.
They've invented inside that fiberglass channel that's spacing the glazing apart, they have a continuous looping of the air through an outdoor port. So the air would go in this little tiny port. If it needs to balance, it would go through this channel multiple times around, and embedded in that channel is a desiccant. So it would take out
The moisture.
moisture. They're figuring that in the worst climate, imagine Puerto Rico with the port being open to the outside where you have humid air 12 months a year, that this glazing and the...
So when you said worst scenario, I'm thinking like Green Bay, Wisconsin, or like
No,
Anchorage,
no.
Alaska. I don't know, because of the heat and the humidity.
It's a humidity issue more so than a temperature issue.
Because cold air is dry.
Because cold air is dry.
How long has this been in the making?
I don't know.
It's a complicated window system.
It
It
is.
sounds very complicated. And is it like normal operations like we're familiar with, double hungs, casements, awnings, that kind of?
That's the thing. He makes the insulated glass units. He doesn't make
windows. So the theory is that other people are going to buy this glass and put it in their window units.
That's one theory. He also has a
So
whole
it always
line.
have to be custom cut for everything.
So he has a bunch of window makers up in Canada where this is based. He's in Edmonton that will, on order, take his glass and put it in a frame. Or the contractor could build the windows themselves like we used to do.
You used to build windows?
Well, my family, that was one of their businesses, was a Darlington sash and door.
Get out.
You're too young to remember this, but there were no Andersons and
Right,
Marvins
right.
and
Oh,
companies that
right,
made
right.
shipped windows
But
across the
that's
country.
been since the 40s or 50s
Right.
that
Right,
people
right.
have been making windows on
But
a mass
those-
scale.
Yep, they have, but there still were the little window shops all over the country. And they're still around, but they're just not doing the big production that
They're doing very
you're not
custom
going to know
things.
their names.
Right.
Yeah.
right, right.
That's,
Anyway,
that's
we've taken a
fascinating.
lot of time talking about this, so
Well, that's really interesting, though. Yeah.
I think
so.
so.
Part of the reason I come here is to learn about new stuff, and that's the most promising, cool thing I've heard about.
What did you dig up today?
It's just that washing machine that I wanted to buy for $2,000. So it's a full size washing machine made by Miele. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
That will fit under a standard counter, and this is a design problem that have encountered. So it's a very small unit, but it doesn't sacrifice the amount of laundry you can do. So I was super psyched about that. And you never have to pour soap in the little container. It's a front loader machine. It has a dispenser, and it automatically puts the soap
of
in.
course.
It's so cool.
And can you control it with your iPad or your phone?
It seems like everything here can be controlled by your iPad or phone, right?
Yeah.
That's been something that's been eye-opening to me.
That is very
The
true.
level of... All right, so I was looking at bidets, not because whatever. It's like that's where I wound up.
I don't think your house is big enough for one, is it? Okay.
It's like an embarrassment. It's a strange thing to look at with people. But anyway, somebody was telling me about how you don't have to touch it at all. You swipe your hand and the thing opens, and then you plug things in, and it's all controlled by. You don't have to touch anything, and you can.
But what does your phone do? Can you call yourself?
You can, let's see, okay, maybe I got those two products mixed up. There's another product where you can set the temperature beforehand.
You may have just invented a new idea.
Oh, there you go.
Mixing and matching
Yeah,
products.
right. Well, there was some smart technology. Let's just put it that way.
Yes, so there's actually
Hands-free,
a whole section of the North Hall, right, is dedicated to, or the South Hall dedicated to technology.
Yeah.
And then I was noticing over in the K-Biz booths, like that seems to be what all the plumbing fixture manufacturers are. That's what they're
bringing it home.
Hard.
Yep. Totally.
Like you can turn on your shower from your phone and get the water warmed up while you're getting your clothes picked out or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's ever going to be a problem.
Sometimes I think, and call me an old skeptic, but these companies come up with some new whiz-bang thing just to have something to
new
say
for the show, of course.
to get the attention of builders, of media, and whatnot.
The design community, all of it.
Oh, yeah. I overheard somebody giving a kitchen. I didn't stop and really listen, but he was standing at a kitchen display, and he was talking about how people are soon never going to have to leave the house.
That sounds awful.
That's what I thought. You can do everything from home, and that'll happen more and more, and we won't ever have to leave. That's a goal I'm after.
Right? My house isn't that nice. I can't wait to get outside.
Yeah.
Okay, my question for all these companies is, so when you go up and you talk to any of these that have some technology-enabled devices, say, okay, we had smart home stuff at IBS 10, 12 years ago?
At least.
When it was big, when it was all wired and wireless was just coming out. And now we got all this stuff. When is yours going to be obsolete? I remember putting in X10 outlets and switches. You remember those?
I had a few.
They were the first. And those, kind of died after 5 years. And then they became incompatible with everything else.
We should tell folks
what that is.
Idea. It was a way to send communication down the power line, right? So you could turn on a switch from anywhere in your house. As long as the wires were connected, and they always are because they go back to the panel box where all the other wires come in, and it could send a signal along the power line and turn on a light, or you could work on a timer.
And this was pre-internet, pre-web. This was, this was the first technology out there, one of the first.
So I think I got that stuff probably in 2000. It's
about.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing it installed in 98, 99 kind of time period. And I've got a couple of rental houses that had those put in by the previous owners. And
do they still work?
No. I had to rip all that stuff out because it was just, they were saying, well, this light doesn't work and this doesn't work. It was all because the devices weren't working properly. So this technology and all this new Wi-Fi crap, Bluetooth this and that, and communication. So, how long is that going to last before it's all obsolete?
Right.
We should ask Addison, just so we're old. You were not. Does this technology appeal to you, or is it just so normal you don't even think much about it?
I mean, to me, I'm not so much of a tech head or tech savvy, but all my friends, they're always playing on their phones. They always want the newest iPhone, all the newest features, updates, and everything. So yeah, I could see this definitely popping off later, especially with my friends starting to buy homes and trying to develop
and having some money to spend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like it really appeals to people to be able to control things in their home when they're not at home.
Exactly.
Right? In preparation for getting home.
Or if you have a second home or a vacation home, that's really where
look at your phone and see what's in the fridge already before you're even there. And
what's
know what
the temperature?
To go grocery
it's to me that's the one application that makes a lot of sense.
I think for aging in place, it makes a lot of sense too for people who might be limited and there are ways in which it can be, for instance, somebody comes to the door, they're not able to get to the door, but they can see who's at the door, they can let them in, that kind of stuff. I think it can be advantageous.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm skeptical.
Some of it's just silly, though.
Some of it's just silly.
Having a mother who's 85 or so and so on and so forth, they're just not they're tech savvy enough to be able to put it through.
No, but fast forward, 30, 40 years, and folks who have grown up in this technology, I don't think it's going to be that different for them.
I wish it wouldn't change so quickly, though, just what you're saying, give people a chance to get accustomed to some of this stuff before it changes, right?
The chromotherapy bathtub, have you seen this?
No.
So it's like a bathtub, but it also has lights in it that you can also tune with your phone or the control pad. And it's supposed to, improve your wellness because the water looks blue or red or yellow or whatever.
There are swimming pools. I mean, singular. Let's see. How do I describe this? It's just for one person. It's in your house. It looks like a bathtub, but you swim laps in it.
Yeah.
It's like the
Right.
old swim X's.
Yes.
So it has that continuous flow of
And
water.
it has
want one of those.
It has all of those sorts of features in it.
Chromotherapy.
So, yeah, you're just swimming along in one space. You're not going anywhere.
I have to close my eyes when I'm swimming anyway, so it's not going to help me any.
I like that idea.
What else did you guys see? What do you got?
I spent a lot of time looking at faucets.
Because you need a faucet.
Just that's what was expected of me, so that's where I was.
Did you find anything really cool?
I do sort of like sort of this Art Deco style that seems to be popular.
You think that's coming back?
It seems like it's I saw a lot of it today.
I think it's a very stylish time period,
Yeah,
I got to say.
I agree.
Are you familiar with the period? So what, the 20s and 30s?
1920s and 30s. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just has the
Chrysler,
sharp lines.
Chrysler building in was it Chicago or New York?
I think it's New York, but don't quote me.
Anyway, that's like, you're nodding like you think so?
I think so.
But that's one of the archetypal forms of that period, right?
Yeah.
You ever seen it?
No, I don't think so.
I'll pull a picture up for you later. It's a beautiful building. It's not a skyscraper like you think of today.
It's definitely what I'm imagining.
It's cool. It's
Well,
really neat.
Remember the old... I won't go there. No. I was trying
He's not gonna
describe
know.
it. No, he's not. No, I was going to try to bring him to something that he would have seen on a job or something. It was an Art Deco, but...
Rectilinear, right?
Yeah. Sharp lines. Yeah.
It's like kind of clean.
Yep.
Not a lot of...
Contemporary, but throwback, retro too.
There's a lot
Everything
of
that
sharp
goes
look.
around comes around.
Absolutely. That's what I
That's
like
what
about
happens.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I like.
My dad told me never to throw away any sport coats or ties because inevitably they will come back in fashion.
Yeah.
And I thought he was crazy. But the recent time I saw someone wearing a knit tie that was like popular in the 80s,
Right.
I was like, wow, he was kind of right.
Yeah.
But I don't see too many people wearing knit ties, I got to say, because they're ugly.
Did you guys come across any framing materials that were interesting to you?
So, go ahead. I was going to say that I'm excited about the additional sheathing products that have insulation built in or WRBs. And now there's like enough that there's more than one.
Yeah.
Which ones? Brands, names,
So
types?
Thermistar, which is right over
Yep.
there.
Atlas.
So Atlas
Thermistar.
makes a sheathing product that has EPS foam on the exterior. So the zip system, the Zip R panels have polyiso on the framing side, right? And that's a problem because you don't have as much shear strength because the foam or the sheathing is not tight to the framing, right, to prevent racking. But this one has the sheathing tight to the framing, but you need a special nail gun, but it doesn't seem like a big deal to have a special nail gun. And unlike the first iteration that I saw that had a bunch of holes in it, where you're supposed to put the nails, these ones don't have holes. They just are marked where the nails are supposed to go.
I feel like you've gotten all bent out of shape when you need a special nail gun in the past.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
So why doesn't it bother you in this scenario?
So a sheathing nailer, you use it all the time and it drives tons of nails. So like if you need a nail gun that only does things you do occasionally, a special one,
Okay.
that seems ridiculous. But if you're going to be sheathing an entire house or a roof, like, yeah, you get a special nail gun and get on with it.
How much does it cost for the nail
The gun?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's only made by Senko as far as I know. And it's got a different nose piece that allows it to work with the foam layer.
Right, it doesn't smush it.
Doesn't
destroy
smush it. And it gets the nail all the way into the
Yeah,
sheathing.
the driver is extended.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that nailer I modified to do the roof sheathing.
To pop the
blow
nails.
the nails through. Yep, same idea.
You could make your own.
I know. I'm thinking about it.
What do you think of that product?
I'm not a fan.
Why?
I don't think it's going to be widely accepted. It's just too different for builders.
But it's not, because you don't have to make any changes to your...
Okay, so
Frame.
why that instead of just putting the sheathing on, nailing it, and putting foam on?
Because it's an extra step to put up the sheathing and then put all the foam up.
This is one product.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do they do with the corners? Because you're going to want the overlap, so now your lines that are marked on that board are going to be off.
But that's a problem always, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It seems solvable to me.
I don't know.
The only thing I don't like about it is I don't like the EPS as the WRB.
That's another good point. Yep.
Because you have to tape the seams and, like...
And then what about all the nail holes that you just drove through the EPS? Those are little channels to get water down to the nail head.
Presumably you would have to tape over those too.
Would you?
A lot of taping.
Would I? No.
So we're in high wind zone. We've got to nail 4 inches on center for our shear.
Yep.
And seismic. So we're going to have a lot of holes in that EPS.
Do you think... So they claim
Not
it
ideal.
affects the performance very little, but
I don't think it would affect the structural performance.
No, I
but
meant
I'm just thinking
the
number,
energy performance too.
Oh, the number of holes that are in there won't affect it in water. All right.
I don't know.
You
But
guys typically tape holes? I mean, nail holes?
In what?
Any exterior layer like that.
well, so if it's your
depends.
WRB, like
Yeah.
I know
zip system,
seams, yeah, but
zip
holes
system
too?
you should.
Yeah.
If it's overdriven, you have to. But you don't have to if it's flush.
Right. It's
Okay.
properly done.
That makes
But
sense.
they leak.
Yeah,
And
I would
research
think.
has demonstrated that the nails leak even if they're driven correctly. So
And the little bit that does get in usually just dries back out. It's not, unless it's getting like submerged in water, it's usually not going to be an issue. So you got the thermal star. Anything else you saw?
I wish I had more time to walk around before
I
we
know.
had this conversation.
Yeah,
But
same here.
Because they got the GP's had their force field for a number of years, and Weather Logic from LP's been out. I think
So
that came
have
out
you
last
seen these
year.
for sale? I've seen them at trade shows, but I've never seen anyone selling them.
That's a good point. I haven't either. I think a lot of the lumber yards in areas where Huber got the zip system out pretty early have kind of bought into the system, and that's what their builders expect. And it's
I was
hard
talking
for a
to someone
company
about this
break
recently.
in.
If you own a lumber yard, you work in a lumber yard, and your Huber rep has taken good care of you and responded to customer complaints or responded to problems, like you're not going to switch to another panel product. It's like you just want things to work.
Aren't they doing demonstrations here? Have you
Huber?
been to- yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to any? Have they happened yet?
We're part of one, I think.
Has it happened yet, though?
I think it's
Yeah,
ongoing.
Ben and Jake, Ben Bogey and Jake Bruton were out on the show house area outside doing it at 11:30 this morning. And do it
Teaching
again
how
tomorrow.
to put windows in, right?
And flashing them
Yeah.
with the zip system. Yep.
It's I'd like to see Zip get some competition, although I think that's a fantastic product, but I think having competition in the marketplace is good.
Yeah.
Keeps people innovating.
Drives prices down, too.
So
Yeah.
there was another product that Addison and I looked at this morning, Tool. Tell them a little bit about that thing.
So it almost looks like a back brace that goes under your arms, and basically what it does is it locks up so that your arms will hold over your head, and it's like spring loaded, so even when you come down, it kind of makes your arms float up, is what it seemed like. I didn't get
For
to put
what?
it on. So if you're doing
Yeah.
drywall mud or anything, and you're
For
over your
ergonomics,
head, or
yeah.
anything overhead, mechanics, they sell it to a lot to mechanics that are working under cars on lifts. So when you're holding your heads, like your hands over your head, you just don't use any muscles.
That's
They just
awesome.
hold your arms up for you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no.
Did you
muscle.
try it on?
Prevents
It
exhaustion, I'm sure.
levitates your arms. When you put this thing on, I wasn't expecting much.
Does it have a lot of tension?
Yeah.
Like, is it hard
Does
to...
it feel good?
When I put it
Sounds
on,
like it might feel good.
when I put it on, I felt like my feet were going to lift off the floor.
Like you're about to
the
fly?
the weight of your arms, you don't realize as you're walking around, there's this weight of your arms that is on your body. Imagine cutting your arms off and feeling that weight disappear.
Well, I
Now,
think
I'm
about
not
that a lot.
I'm not proposing that you cut your arms off.
Man, what will they think of next? Although I imagine if you've got your hands above your head for 8 hours on any given day, you're in a lot of pain after the
I
fact,
kind
right?
of wonder, like, is
When-
that good? Doesn't that, like, reduce your
Atrophy?
muscle
Right.
tone?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
uses so many-
have you
You
ever
say
painted
no.
a ceiling?
Think about repetitive
Yeah.
motion issues
Right.
in all kinds of industries, and I know we're all subject to that in the construction industry. And the veneer plaster is very popular in my area of Rhode Island and parts of Massachusetts, and it's picking up in different parts of the country. And plasterers and drywall tapers as well. They get their arms up over their head for hours a day with heavy materials, and just those motions. Now imagine just taking 80% of that force that you need to keep your hand over your arm with a tool in it away. And now you've reduced the joint wear and tear, and you've increased the longevity that somebody older like me could actually work in the field doing what I like to do.
And production, because now you're not getting so tired with
Yeah.
your arms over your head.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That sounds cool. What's
So
it look like?
It literally looked like a back brace with these weird wings that sit under your arms.
Was it comfortable?
I didn't get to put it on.
Was
but
it comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I told him he can't put it on until tomorrow because we're going to videotape him
Cool.
when he puts it on because his
I'm
eyes
curious.
are going to blow out.
I'm curious to see what that's all about.
Yeah, he looked all confused and he was like skeptical at first, and then when he put it on, he was like, wow. He was blown away. He never thought.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like that people are thinking about that kind of ergonomics and saving the body. You know?
I think that technology is only going to get more mainstream.
Right.
It's like, we're going to be able to solve a lot of our body problems.
So
Right?
you looked at some gloves. That was the same kind of thing, the safety gloves. What did you?
They were just heavy duty.
Oh, okay. You didn't. Okay, I thought you were looking
They
at the
didn't
safety
raise your
gloves.
arms above.
They didn't move your fingers for you?
No, there was like some shock resistant and padding in it and all this.
Okay. Is that all the time we have, Jeff? Okay. What else you got? You were going to come up with something else.
No, I was just looking at my notes to see if there was something. But
So what are you guys hoping to get from the show the next 2 days? That's probably a good place
well,
to
how
wrap.
about we do something different? Tell them about what we're doing here.
that's a
Okay,
good
let's
idea.
do it.
Do that?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Why don't you start? What are we doing here?
But
Why are you
what
here
our
at the
demos?
Oh, oh man, I forgot the.
Okay, I'll do it. So the International Builder Show has a few demonstration areas, and we were invited to do some presenting at them. It's called the High Performance Building Zone, and we're doing both building technology things, kind of added in as a side benefit.
Like, what does that mean?
What do you mean by building tech? Like
what?
All the same stuff we were talking about, smart appliances and technology in that regard.
Because it's huge.
And then like the demo we did. We did 2 demos this morning. One was on. Basically, took the article that we wrote a couple years ago on headers and different kinds of header options was basically the idea, and turned it into a live presentation for 30 minutes. And then blower door testing was another one.
So are you actually trying to teach people how to do a blower door test?
No, what I'm trying to teach people with the blower door test is just give them a sense of what the blower door is and how long a blower door test really takes, which is about 15 minutes, but what the building code requires for all of the preparation of the building, so that they then, as builders or remodelers having a blower door test done, can actually do before the technician comes.
Get ready.
Get ready. And get it ready properly so that
you get a good result.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because those people aren't going to go around necessarily and
fix your mistakes.
Well, or it's not mistakes. It's like little things like it's a brand new house. The toilets haven't been hooked up to the water supply.
Oh, right.
Yet,
They have
so
no water in the trap.
them. So now that's a big air leak.
That's a 3-inch hole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's 2.5, isn't it?
The trapway is, yeah.
So you fill the water up, and then same with sinks and things like that. So
that's cool.
Just little tips like that.
What kind of questions are people asking you
I
about
was going to ask what the experience is.
Well, the way the scenario is, Kevin Ireton, a former editor-in-chief of Fine Homebuilding, is doing the demonstrations on a stage just opposite us, and we're on 30-minute format. So as soon as I finish, and I have to finish on the second, he starts talking. So there's no time for anybody to ask questions, unfortunately. But
That's
people
too
came
bad.
up. The question I got about blower door testing, and it was really related more to air sealing and issues of radon. Mm-hmm. And the issue of a tight house with radon when you don't have makeup air coming into the house. I think you guys might have even talked some about that.
We were talking about. We got a
podcast.
question about that.
But we're not going to turn this into the air sealing podcast here.
Please.
Or the radon podcast, because Kylie told me earlier we're not going to do that.
That's interesting. Do you think these folks are like, this is new information to them?
Yeah, that's what I want to.
It is amazing. We're so familiar with JLC Live where a lot of the contractors come and they're already really knowledgeable about building science.
This is all over the board.
This is all over the board. And I'm thinking this is going to be a nothing demo, like on headers. We had, 180 people, 190 people?
All the seats were full. The aisles on the side were full.
It was a mob. And then...
It's because you're a rock star,
and then the blower door was the same thing. It was like, what? And all these people were just like, you could see them. They're all writing notes. Taking pictures. And
I think it's very new to a lot of builders. And, that came out in the 2012 code now, which is probably where most states are, right? The airtightness testing.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's real now.
Yeah, because it takes a while for municipalities to
get to the
adopt
right
things
code,
and then have maybe a a break-in period where builders got to get familiar with things. But, yeah.
I still hear from a lot of builders that their communities are not requiring that test.
Yep.
But I know in my town, you have to now. You have to put the sticker on the service panel.
And I think where you guys are in Connecticut, it's 3 air changes per hour.
It is, yeah.
Boom, done. Ouch. To go from 0 to 3 air changes
Zero
to
testing.
go from 0 testing to 3 air changes per hour, that can be a hurdle.
Yes, because people think they're going to do just what they've always done, and it's not going to work.
Nope.
Thank you guys for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, really.
So, tell me again the demo for folks. Will they hear this tomorrow? They might. So
if people hear it tomorrow and they're on the show floor on Thursday, we'll be at the High Performance Building Zone in the North Hall 100 aisle, and it's a big area, you can't miss it. And we'll be doing, I'll be doing rain screen venting, how to get the air into the rain screen and out of the rain screen. Everybody talks about the wonderful furring strips and spacers, but they never talk about how to get the air in and terminate it, make it look good and work effectively, and how to flash when you run flashing. Do you run it all the way through to the wall, or do you keep it back on the surface of the rain screen material?
I don't know. I'm going to have to go to this.
Right. So that
Does it change? Does it vary? Does it depend?
Well,
or do you have a technique?
It does depend, depending on the wall assembly you're doing, but for the most part, I like to see that vent go right from the lowest possible level, continuous all the way up. So I always just backflash to the face of the outer face of the rain screen space. Kind of like, think of overlap siding,
Yep.
where you got the laps going over. Well, you've got your flashing and you're just overlapping it. Water gets back there, it's fine because it drains and vents and dries.
Dig it. That sounds cool. Well, thanks to all of you for listening. Remember to tune in tomorrow for the next installments from the Builder Show on the FHB podcast. Thanks for listening. Happy building.